So today's meeting, Tuesday, July 27, 2020, at 6 o'clock p.m. in Vidalia Town Hall, Council Chamber. And we're going to stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now we're going to do the prayer, and I'm going to do that. Take your glasses off. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day. We appreciate the mercy and the kindness you have kept us through all the difficult times that we may have. And for this, dear Lord, we thank you. We're now asking that you give us guidance and understanding. We ask, dear Lord, that you orchestrate this gathering tonight. And we ask that everything go according to your plan. These things I ask in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay. Next on the agenda is we're going to have the representative from the pregnancy center with each. Oh, I forgot my roll call, and I didn't have my glasses on either. Dr. Moore, will you do our roll call, please?
Yes, I will, Madam Chair. Ms. Carter?
Present.
Mr. Ferguson?
Present.
Mr. Galloway?
Present.
Mr. Hamilton? Ms. Lynch?
Present.
Mr. White? And I'm Dr. Moore, present. Madam Chair, we do have a quorum.
Thank you. And now we would like for the pregnancy center people to tell us your name and your role and where you're from. And you're going to speak one behind the other? Okay, let's get started.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you for the meeting. We really appreciate it, and thank you for everybody for attending. My name is Brian Gunter. I'm the president of the board of Cenlaw Pregnancy Center. I will be speaking, followed by Claire Lemoyne. She is our executive director. She is a registered nurse, and she runs our clinic in Alexandria, which is our largest and busiest of our two clinics. Also, Mr. Todd St. Romain is a board member. He will be speaking. He's the retired CEO of St. Romain Oil Company and has a lot of experience in property and compliance with regulations and things. So any questions about that, he is our go-to on that. And then last, Ms. Kimberly Butler, she will be the director of the Miss Lou Pregnancy Center that we plan to bring to Vidalia. And so she will run our clinic and counseling center here. So I wanted to begin by explaining what a pregnancy center is. A pregnancy center is a pro-life ministry that aims to help mothers and fathers who find themselves in a crisis pregnancy. We know that there is a huge problem in America where we have young women who are unwed and become pregnant, and they feel that they are unprepared to have a child. We exist to give them life-affirming options, namely to either parent their child or place their child for adoption. We are pro-life because we want to help women and give them options other than abortion. And one of the things that I want you to know about is the number of women who live in your community who are having an abortion every year. The state of Louisiana, as well as the state of Mississippi, requires by law that abortion clinics report how many women in every county in Mississippi and parish in Louisiana, how many women who live in that county or parish had an abortion last year. And so last year in Concordia Parish, 25 women had an abortion. Tensas Parish was 11, Catahoula 9. Adams County, Mississippi, 90 women from Adams County had an abortion last year. Jefferson County, Mississippi, 28. Franklin County, 11. Wilkinson County, 13. So in the area surrounding Vidalia, there were 187 women who had an abortion in 2020. And our goal is to minister to those mothers and fathers so that they would have options other than abortion. The nearest pregnancy centers where we provide these services, and Claire's going to talk about more about the services we provide, but the nearest pregnancy center where a woman can go for help if she's pregnant and feels unprepared to have a child is our pregnancy center in Alexandria, 71 miles away. After that, Macomb, Mississippi has a pregnancy center 73 miles away, Vicksburg, Marksville, Louisiana, and Monticello, Mississippi. So Vidalia, the reason Vidalia is so strategic for our ministry is Vidalia is in the geographic center of a pregnancy center desert where there are no ministries of this kind for over 70 miles in any direction from Vidalia. So we want to locate in the center of the region of Louisiana and Mississippi where there are no ministries of this kind. And it would be a huge blessing to your community because we aim to help young women who are pregnant, who are afraid, and who feel that they're unprepared to have a child. Not only do we help women choose life, but we help women through the early years of their child's life. I myself am a foster parent, and we believe very strongly that we want to equip mothers and fathers to raise their child in a healthy household with a good environment. We don't want children being abused, neglected, or ending up in foster care, and so we support those parents in the early years of their children's lives. So if our pregnancy center comes to Vidalia, it will be a huge blessing to your community. Now, they're going to speak more about the property that we're asking for a variance on, but this property, the reason that we would like to locate here, number one, it's in a very inviting area. I think women would feel very comfortable there. And number two, we've just found a shortage of commercial properties. We have made an offer on a commercial property which was not received, and so we feel that the location at 309 Walnut Street would be the best for our ministry. I'm going to ask Claire, if you would, to come and share more about our ministry, what we do, and about the kind of clients and how many would be coming to our clinic each day.
Thank you, Brian. I echo everything Brian said, and I would like to paint a little picture about the services that we already offer in our main location, which is the Cenla Pregnancy Center in Alexandria, along with our satellite location located in Marksville, Louisiana, serving the women in Avoyelles Parish. So our services include a pregnancy test, a verification of pregnancy. So many women need this confirmation of pregnancy, and of course when they find out that they may be in an unplanned and unexpected pregnancy, that first emotion that comes over them, as we know very well, is fear, and they need an outlet. They need someone to embrace them and welcome them in a non-judgmental atmosphere, in a safe place where they can open up about their fears and their concerns about facing this unplanned pregnancy. You know, coming into the Vidalia area, as Brian mentioned, would be an incredible gift to this community. And we've seen that in our Alexandria and Marksville location. We have seen mothers and fathers and children be born into these families, into loving, nurturing homes, making an adoption plan in certain circumstances. So regardless, with our particular services that we hope to offer at the Walnut Street property, we intend to open this location on a part-time basis initially until we see if there is a greater demand for our services. Our goal is to open on Mondays and Wednesdays, the hours of 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Kimberly Butler, who Brian introduced earlier, who is our present client advocate coordinator at our main center in Alexandria, would serve as the director of this clinic here in Vidalia. She is experienced. She is a licensed master social worker, along with having a nursing license. So she's a wonderful asset to our ministry. So we know that she is well equipped to come and offer the services that she's very well versed in the Vidalia clinic. She would be here 2 days a week. Of course, we would want a single volunteer to be with her, so that would require another person. We would want someone to be able to answer the calls while she's providing services to the mothers. We would want someone to open the door if someone needed and just greet people as they enter. So regardless, she would be here along with a volunteer 2 days a week. That Monday through Wednesday is the plan, Monday and Wednesday 9 to 5. And I will tell you, the number of services that we provide in Alexandria, you know, we provide a number of different services to mothers. On average, sometimes 20 new clients a month may come to see us in a crisis pregnancy. However, in our Avoyelles Satellite Center, we don't see that number of women. The demand is not there. We expect to see, you know, on a given day, and this is based on our experience and our knowledge, you know, with our best prediction, we expect to see at the most 2 to 3 clients in a day. This is not going to be a ministry where there will be continual, very, very, you know, much traffic or anything that would be that would not be welcome in the area. So, you know, we want you to understand that the home area on Walnut Street is an incredible location, a beautiful location, a welcoming location where we expect mothers to be served only one at a time. You know, we have a scheduling, we have a computer scheduling program that we use where we, you know, strategically schedule clients to come in so that they can receive one-on-one services, and that would be given by Kimberly. So we don't, you know, we would not have an overflow of people in the area at one given time. We do offer education classes as clients become established with our program and a verification of pregnancy is given, but those again are one-on-one. They actually complete the classes virtually on their cell phone or home computer and then come to us to discuss with us so we can answer their questions and, you know, reveal anything that they may have missed in the content. One of the other things that we provide to our mothers that's a really vital component of our care is an ultrasound. I mean, this is a key piece of, a key tool that we use to show mother's life within the womb, you know, and we can literally counsel them and continue to provide services for them by providing this ultrasound. And it's a key component to the services that we offer. The intentions are, because Kimberly does have a nursing license, is to have her trained. That's how we function in Avoyelles and Alexandria, and it's worked beautifully. So I want to present that to you, and I'm grateful for your listening ear and for consideration as we hope to bring these services not only to the mothers in Vidalia, fathers, families, and the entire community. Thank you very much.
Okay, good evening. I'm Todd St. Romain, and I'm here as a board member for Cenla Pregnancy Center. And I'm glad to join my colleagues here this evening, and we appreciate y'all hosting this forum where we could ask for a request for a special use permit or variance, a waiver of some sort that would allow us to use the property specifically at 309 Walnut Street for the Miss Lou Pregnancy Center, as described very well by both Brian and Claire. So it would be our intention, if approved, to have the facility evaluated by an engineer and develop a plan for us to meet all state and local regulatory requirements. After evaluating the site, it does present the opportunity for some off-street parking for up to about 6 vehicles currently that would be parked behind the building on Georgia Street. So and that would actually look like it would serve well as a primary entrance, not so much on Walnut Street. So the front, from the neighborhood perspective, should remain unchanged. Our services are only going to be open several days a week, as mentioned by Claire, and our business hours are normally from 9 to 5. So there should be minimal disruption to the neighborhood. So again, we just request your consideration. We appreciate the opportunity to present and request this, again, I don't know if it's a variance, a waiver, or a special use permit to use this property in the zoned area that you have. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kimberly. So as they told y'all, I'm a nurse, but I'm also a social worker. So being in the experience over the years of talking with people, even as a nurse, we are somewhat of counselors as well. I've had the pleasure of sitting down with women that come from all walks of life. And so one thing that I've learned from being there talking, even from the beginnings of being there at the pregnancy center, is talking with these women is they want to be in a comfortable and an inviting environment. They want to be somewhere where they feel safe, where they feel like they're coming home and they're not coming into a sterile business office or medical office. So if y'all want to ask, well, why do you not want a commercial property? Well, number one, there's not much to choose from here. And like Brian said, we have made offers on one, but that actually wasn't in our budget, well, for what he wanted for it anyway. So we're looking for property that is conducive to what we do, but also will make these women feel at home and to feel like they're not walking into a medical office. So my office, we did kind of a little experiment and redid my office to make it a little bit more comfortable, bringing in certain specific chairs and just making it feel comfortable and like they were actually coming into a peaceful environment. And a lot of the surveys that we get from that is how peaceful they felt, how comfortable they felt in opening up. And that does help us to be able to get them to talk to us, to be able to tell us what their needs are, because a lot of these women are coming to us, they're not just pregnant, they're not just in a fearful situation because of their pregnancy, they are addicted, they are in domestic violence situations. We've had women that have called that they have actually, we had one this last week that had actually attempted to kill herself. So we're not just dealing with women that are pregnant, we are actually dealing with all kinds of issues in the society that we're in today. So if you ask us why we want to choose to be in a home instead of being in a sterile business office, that is why. Because we want these women to feel like they are coming to people that care, that love them, and they are automatically set at ease and in a peaceful environment where they can feel like they are cared about and they are loved and they're not just sitting in a regular doctor's office. So the other option for them would be to go to an abortion clinic, which is very sterile and very uninviting. And we want to do the exact opposite and show these women that we care, that there is hope, and that we're there to support them. So thank you for your time.
All right. The next person we'll have is Mr. Walter, Larry Walter.
I'm Larry Walters. I'm with Institute for Building Technology and Safety. We are contracted with the City of Vidalia as their code official for their CBO, which is Certified Building Official. We do their zoning reviews, we do property maintenance for them, and we also do floodplain administration. And so Jay had asked me to just kind of look at this thing. I mean, no building permit or anything has been applied for the center, and it wouldn't be until they purchase property, I'm sure. But he asked me to kind of go over and just look at some things that might be some problems or issues that might arise. And I've sent each of you, I hope y'all took a look at that and read it. I'm not going to take time to read all this, but I just wanted to point out that there would be building permits required for a change of occupancy for any structure that would change from a residential to a commercial structure. A part of that would require state fire marshal's plan review to see if there are any life safety issues of the occupancy to come up to commercial building codes. Now, the fire marshal doesn't care what zone it's in, they just care about commercial properties, and so they'd be reviewing for that. They'd be reviewing for handicap accessibility, whether there was accessible routes going into the building. They'd be reviewing if there was handicap parking. They'd be reviewing also any fire-related issues that might be in the building as associated with a change of occupancy. The International Existing Building Code is a mandatory requirement of the state of Louisiana. And so by it, we also would be reviewing to be sure that there were bathroom facilities that were adequate for the occupancy that it's being changed to, and so would the fire marshal probably see if the bathrooms were handicap accessible. Now all that's on the state fire marshal, they do that review. But we'd be doing would be a review of those things, as well as we would do a review of zoning to see if it was zoned and an issue that it was zoned for. And of course, if they came and got a building permit today or applied for a building permit today, we would have to turn the permit application down because it's zoned as residential. And so that, if that was to happen today, our office would have to turn it down as being as a residential zone and not a non-compliant use in that zone. That's why they're here, because it is zoned as a residential use. Now, I do want to say I'm 100% for this group. I think they're doing a great service. I'm also a bivocational pastor at Waterproof First Baptist Church in Waterproof. And so I'm also the acting over the Delta Association this year, the moderator for Delta Association, who is in support of them and as well. So our Baptist Association supports this group, our church supports this group, and so it kind of puts me in a position of looking like that I'm against, but code officials, all they do is say it's in the code or it's not in the code, and right now we'd have to say it's not in the code. And so that's up to whether it's this board or the Board of Adjustments. Now that's also sent in this that I wrote about the duties that are in the zoning code of the Board of Adjustments and the Planning Commission as to which one would make these types of decisions, and just so that you'd see what's in the code for that, as well as put a map showing what code it's in, gave you a map of what there is a little difference in the, you might have seen that in the zoning code. The map says R8, but the zoning code says R7. And the R8 residential on the map and the R7 zoning in the code is actually the same thing. That's just a typo on the map. And so the map says R8, but the code is what we go by when we cite something, and it would say an R7 zone. But that's on your map. That's the kind of the brighter colored yellow on the map. And then the town center would be very close to this, only a block away right here in the center of town. And so you could see that I identified where the lot is on the map, so you'd see where it would be, which is definitely in an R7 zone, even though that map says R8. It'd be an R7 zone. And so that's where we stand on it today. We'd have to do a plan review of what they plan, you know, any modifications maybe they may have to the building. We'd also have to do the zoning review as a part of that. Now, if that's taken care of ahead of time, and then it's already either being rezoned by this commission or granted a variance by the zoning board of adjustments, or whatever process that the city needs to take place, that'll be something out of my hands. And all we need is something from, a letter from one of these bodies saying that you're okay with the zone it's in, and then they'll have to go through the process of state fire marshal, the IBC review from us, and the other parts of that. Now, I did point out in the zoning code, if it is called a commercial property, then the zoning code has some parking requirements that might be an issue there. I know there's some parking places by the existing carport that's there, but the zoning code is specific about how many spaces it is. It's one for every 400 square feet of floor space of the main building. I don't know how big it is, so I didn't try to calculate how many spaces that needed to be, but that would be done as a part of the zoning review if it gets that far. And so I don't know if you have any questions for me. That's really all I wanted to do, was just try to give you some information and tell you our role in this.
Would you like me to speak to parking that exists?
Well, you can't. I mean, From what I can tell, there's some spaces up under the carport, and then could possibly park in front of staff that park in the carport, but I don't know if that's going to meet the requirements of what, I don't know how many square feet the building is, so I don't know how many spaces that would be. 2,400 square foot building would take about 6 parking spaces.
We'll get back to your question. Okay.
Okay?
Thank you so very
You're
much.
welcome.
Okay, the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to hear from the public to see how so you can say whatever you feel. But we're also going to ask some things from you. We're going to ask for your name. We're going to ask you to speak for 3 minutes because there's a lot of y'all out there. And we would like to know where you're from. Okay? So whoever would like to be first, it's the ladies first, huh? She beat y'all in raising your hand.
Many of you in this building know who I am. I'm Ruth Powers. I live at 409 Concordia Avenue here in Vidalia. My family has lived here in Concordia Parish since God was a very small child, the Murrays. I'm speaking in support of the Pregnancy Center. I am the coordinator of a pregnancy outreach group in Natchez called Caring Hearts. We are an interfaith group. Primary support comes from St. Mary Basilica, but we operate with a number of different churches in Natchez. We are a very shoestring operation. Most of what we are able to do, because we are 100% volunteer, is provide goods for young women. Diapers, wipes, baby clothes, things like that. And also some referrals to like housing, food, and so on. We would plan to fold our operation in with the operation that these ladies and gentlemen have talked about, because they are a very professional group. I have toured their center in Alexandria. It is amazing. And it is a center that I can speak from experience that we need in this area. We need these services, and we need these services that are provided on a professional basis. Over the course of the 5 years that we have had this pregnancy outreach, we've served about 3 dozen young women. Some have been in tougher circumstances than others. But I'm speaking very definitely as a Vidalia resident and as a Christian that I'm in support of this, and I agree with what they have said about the reason we need to provide a comfortable, welcoming environment.
Thank you. Okay.
My name's Kevin Freelou, and I'm the owner of the property at 309 Walnut. And I want to tell you a little bit about the situation. We moved here 13 years ago this Thursday, and we met a lot of good people, a lot of church people. We've enjoyed our time here. We always thought that this was going to be our last place to live until either me or my wife passed away, and that's a fact. Last year we had an unexpected grandson who lives 3.5 hours away, and we decided God was giving us this call that we had to move back closer. So we put our house up for sale, and we showed it to a number of people, and it just wasn't the right fit. Then I get a call from Miss Tabitha Roten. I don't know if y'all know Tabitha, but she's with River Park Realty, and she called and said, we have some people that want to see your house. So, unbeknownst to me, she said she asked Donna Robertson to show the house the next morning. And if I can call you by your first name, since y'all are a lot younger than me, Brian and Claire show up in one vehicle, and I thought they were a couple looking to come see the house. And then Kimberly shows up in another vehicle, and they come up on the porch, and I started telling them about the property. And after about 3 or 4 minutes of chit-chat, I realized that They weren't looking to come here to buy a house. So Donna, right here, showed them through the home. They came back in, and Brian and I started talking, and then when we found out that they wanted to open a satellite facility for their main pregnancy center, I said, you know, something's happening here. And the first thing that came to mind, that we can't just let them operate in a residential area, and it's going to have to get some approval from the Board of Aldermen ultimately. So we started talking, and when they told me the situation that Claire mentioned earlier, that they intended to not do anything with the front of the house, to leave it as a residential structure, it's going to be more welcoming to these women that they have to minister to, that they will only be open 16 hours in an entire week, seeing probably 4 or 5, 6 ladies a week who need them. We said that we need to try to move forward. Then we worked out a contract, and my family is 100% pro-life, and I don't apologize to anybody for that. And that's why we're here tonight. And the thing I wanted to bring up, there was 2 things that's in the zoning code that I think meet the intention of the pregnancy center. It says, first of all, the structure shall not be altered in any manner which diminishes its value as a single-family dwelling or which changes its exterior residential character, which they have said that they will not do. The other thing is that the granting of such variance will not be materially detrimental to the public welfare or injurious to the property or improvements in the district in which the property is located. And I think they're committed to doing that, and I think they're great people. They provide a great service ministry, and that's all I really need to say. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'd like to welcome all of you. I doubt that there's anybody in this room who has any aversion to what you do. However, I live at 305 Walnut Street. I have a great number of concerns, and each of those concerns are somehow referenced in your presentation tonight and on your website and so on. While you've asked for a variance to allow this to happen, to enable you to purchase the home, you really are talking about a non-conforming use. By non-conforming, our zoning code was written, took a lot of effort on a lot of people's part to put this thing together in 2015, and it was amended in 2018 or 19. But through a lot of effort, it had to be passed by ordinance. The ordinance was written to protect the people of this town. Now there's a little over 3,600 of us here. And what you've outlined, I've got no problem with. My wife is a cradle Catholic. We're both pro-life. We have no problems at all. We've even prayed about it. We think it's the wrong thing to do. We think that there's no hardship involved for you to select another place, a more appropriate, either commercial or whatever, or mixed use perhaps. And we just simply want to protect our neighborhood. We want to protect this community. And many of our ordinances are written just for our protection. Unlike Kevin, I'm 76 years old. I intend to die here in Vidalia. I grew up here, I went away for many years, and I came back. I enjoy the solitude of the neighborhood that I'm in. I've got a bunch of great neighbors, Kevin being one of the great ones. He was gracious enough to come to all of us in the neighborhood and tell us what the issue was. I personally believe there's lots of issues, all related to the code as it is written. I had prepared, I've got 3 pages of references to that ordinance that absolutely forbid a conforming use to be exchanged for a non-conforming use. And that's what this is. It's a non-conforming use. It's either a medical facility or some commercial aspect or whatever. I did notice that the industry classifications places you with other medical facilities, and I was real shocked when I looked at some of them that they are, though some of them are the extreme opposite of what you do and what we're all really are against. I would only encourage you to come to our area. It is a great place and you can do us a great service. But you can also find another place somehow that seems more appropriate, I think, without your having a hardship, and that's what a variance does. If you ask for a variance based on a hardship, then it's more likely to be approved than if you just ask for a variance and really mean a change of use. So I'm asking you to consider other options, but we'd love for you to be here. Thank you.
Wait, Ray, she was next.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Cheryl Bowman, and I live in the 600 block of Walnut. I have kin folks, as we say, in 400, 500, and the 600 block. My family has been about as long as that young lady, but I'm actually in town while my mom's not here, and I'm speaking on her behalf. And I spoke with Mr. Kevin today, and I actually told him in so many words, I don't have all the variances and things as this gentleman has, but I think it's an excellent idea. I just don't think it's for our neighborhood. It's needed. As they say, I'm from the city too, so I do think that it's needed. It's something that's needed in this area, just not at that particular spot. I do know that the upper, which is the elementary school, the upper elementary, when the parents come to pick up kids, they come along there, they park there. So that's going to be a concern. I don't know what holds in the future, if you guys plan on extending days or hours or what have you, but then that would be a concern as well, because we all have people like that in our family. And I don't want to say that, and I am going to say, unsavory folks and some, and I know it's a harsh word, but I couldn't think of anything else at the time. But, and we all have something like that in our family, and they need their concerns addressed. I just don't think that would be good for our neighborhood. And that's my take on it. And also my mother feels the same way. In addition, there are several other people that are in the neighborhood on Walnut Street as well that are in here, and I've spoken with them and they feel the same way. I don't know if they're going to come up here, but I'm just letting you know. But I think you guys are doing an awesome job. Thank you so much.
Raymond, you were next.
Well, I'm Raymond Murray. I live at 311 Laurel Street, which is a block from Kevin. I'm the father of a 19-year-old adopted son that I've had for 19 years. I agree with everything you want to do. What I don't agree with is changing a residential neighborhood. There are some issues, there's things that were read that said you're not going to change anything. There were things that were said that said you have to change things. So that's kind of up in the air. I just wish there was a more suitable place. One that comes to mind for me is right across from the Catholic Church in Vidalia. It's a very inviting house, home, that could be also an office. It needs to be used. It's sitting there empty. Things often start out as one thing and end up in the long run being something else. That worries me. You know, I bought a house in the old part of town because that's where I like the old part of town. I don't want to see it change. The ordinances protect me. They protect my assets. I'm asking for y'all not to give a variance on this. Once you start, who's next? What business will come and buy a house, or there's a few empty lots or whatever else, and come and say, hey, you did it once, do it again? What's important for one person can very well be important for somebody else. So I just would like for y'all to consider all that, you know.
Is there anyone else?
My name is Joey Bazile, and I used to live at 401 Laurel. I have built a new house since then, so I've been gone for 3 months. But if you look at my house, the side street from Walnut is Georgia Street. Now, that was 1 block from Kevin. I own 2 other houses that are within a block and a half of Kevin. One of them I have on the market right now. As Kevin said, there's no detriment, but I'm going to prove to you today that here's our first detriment. The house that I have had listed with this agent for 3.5 months, I have finally got an offer, which is on hold, because if this goes through, my offer is gone. That's a couple from out of town that wants to move here to Vidalia from another state. So now I'm proving the first detriment. Nothing against Kevin, and I have nothing against this group. I was born Catholic, grew up Catholic all my life. But I've been in the real estate business for over 20-something years here in Concordia Parish. When I moved here, residential and commercial. I have 6 or 7 commercial properties. Out of those properties, 3/4 of them are companies from out of town, several from Ellick. And I was able to find them locations when they needed it for their commercial area. As Raymond said, this building that's right next to the church, at some point today, I just got an inkling. I said, well, I'm just going to go ride and see if I can find something. Within 5 minutes, when I rode around the corner, there was that house. So I called it. The price was considerable to what Kevin's asking price is. Commercial property, totally redone. Should already be commercial acceptable if it's been to that, you know, brought into that area. I called and I asked them, who owns the property behind you? The Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is right across from this property. So that means if they ever needed a priest, the priest could walk across the street to them. They could have 25 parking spots because there's all the parking they need there. And again, I have nothing against what they're doing or against Ms. Frillo. We've been great neighbors. But it's already proven today with the calls that I'm getting, and I'm going to sell these next houses. Or I hope I'm going to be able to sell these houses. So I guess my question would then be to you is that if we let this go, can I list my houses as residential or commercial? So, thank you.
Does anyone else have anything they would like to say?
Three minutes. I'll never use up 3 minutes. My name is Ralph Shields. I live at 308 Laurel Street, which is the house back behind Kevin and Angie. And I've known them for the 13 years they've been here, as he said. They've been great neighbors. I love them. I hate like the devil that they have to leave. Lots of things come up and people change their minds. I probably wouldn't even be here except for the fact that I'm not only speaking for myself, I'm speaking for the Aaronsteins at 304 Laurel and the McCartys at 400 Laurel, who are in favor of the project and in favor of the effort, but are not in favor of changing the use of the house on Walnut, 309 Walnut. And that's mainly my concern. I'm not so much concerned about exterior. I'm not so much concerned about rules and regulations and state requirements. I'm talking about changing the use of a piece of property to something that's not a residence. And we're all residents of a neighborhood. We all chose to be in this neighborhood. I can understand that's very attractive and appealing and would be very warm and inviting. But from my perspective, I want neighbors behind me. I want somebody watching my back when I'm not home. I like dogs barking behind me to alert me when strangers are around. I like hearing children play up and down the street and in the backyard and things like that. And this would all, none of that would be what's going to be happening at 309 Walnut. I just am asking that we keep it as a residence, putting the use of the property ahead of any other considerations. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak?
My name is Sabrina Dore. I do not live in the immediate neighborhood, but I am a business owner in Vidalia who very recently purchased a commercial building. I do live here in Vidalia, but a little bit over from this neighborhood. When I was looking at purchasing a commercial building, I looked at 6 properties. There are commercial properties. This was about 3 to 4 months ago. There are commercial properties available in Vidalia. Of course, they are more expensive than residential properties. But that is a task that you take on when you own a business. You have to expect that you're going to have the cost of a brick and mortar storefront. So when I was looking at the businesses, they did range in prices from $500,000. I looked at some for $300,000. I looked at one for $250,000. Ultimately, I ended up, because of my business plan, staying in the building that I'm currently in and purchasing rather than leasing it. Now, it does not fit all the needs that I have. I want to expand. But what I am having to do because of funding and because of, not sure how the economy is going to go, not sure what's going on, I'm protecting my business and my family's lifestyle by making sure that I'm making a choice that is right for me financially. What my plan is to expand. One of the things that I heard these wonderful people say is that, we're going to test it out 2 days a week and see how it goes. We may increase. I'm doing the same thing. I'm testing out the building that I ultimately purchased that I could afford under my current business plan, seeing how it goes to see if I can expand. The difference with mine, though, if my business fails, I've been there for 21 years, been the owner for 6, but if my business fails and another business takes my spot, I'm in a commercial zone, so no one's residence is affected by that. If this business, hopefully it does not, but if this business fails, another commercial business can move right back into it because now it's up to code, it's got approval, we've set a precedence, and it's grandfathered. Another business could move right in. We don't know what that's going to be. If my business folds and I leave, my neighbors already know there will be a business in my building. If this business doesn't get the number of customers that you need, the neighbors don't know what's coming next. Another thing that I heard you say that was really concerning to me, and I don't know that you meant to say it, was, a lot of these people are coming from domestic violence situations. If I lived on that street, I would not want the possibility of a domestic violence situation being my neighbor. Absolutely not. In a neighborhood that when police have to respond, they're going through residential streets where children are playing and they have to get there in a timely manner, absolutely not. I would not want that on my street. There are availabilities for businesses. If you do not want to purchase, you can lease like I did for many, many years. Yes, it's, it's not as cost effective, but if budget is a factor, changing the rules should not be the answer. Changing the business plan should be the answer. Thank you.
Kevin?
If nobody else has any answers, I'd like to say one last thing.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Kevin? Don't forget your 3 minutes.
Right. When we first talked to Jay LaShawn, we made it a point to say that we did not want to rezone the property to commercial. And he said that it was in the code, it says it requires a PC to go before the Planning Commission for a special use permit for only the pregnancy center. If the pregnancy center ceases to exist, it will revert back to a total residential use. And correct me, that's what we discussed, Jay. And that's what they've committed to do. And if I thought this was going to affect your property one iota, I would have never been here. I'd have never even entertained that. If they wanted to rezone, I'd have said absolutely not. and I don't think it's going to hurt. It's people like Ray, a good friend of mine, you will not even know that it exists. You live right there on the corner, a couple people down the street, you never even see them outside, you never see them in their yards. They take up more time. They take up more time with somebody parking in their front of their house, cutting their yards and blocking traffic than these people are gonna do in the whole week. So, but anyway, and I don't want to look like the villain because Cenla came to me and I said, because they're 100% pro-life, they're trying to help young women when they're in a crisis, I said, I think it's incumbent upon me to at least let them try to proceed. That's it. Thank you, and thank you for hearing us too.
Is there anyone else from the floor have anything they want to say? If not,
If I could just maybe say something in summary. I just want to say, guys, we're not from Vidalia, obviously, and we want to respect your homes and your community. I own a house as well, obviously, near Alexandria. But I just want to say, you raised legitimate concerns. I hear you. Our goal is to be a blessing to your community, and whether or not the variance is granted, there's no hard feelings. I want you to know that our goal is to help families in Vidalia and the surrounding communities. So just know that we're here because we care about young families and we really care about children, and we want them to have a chance at life, and we want young families to be strong. So wherever we locate, and we hope to locate in Vidalia, if we can find a suitable location, whether it's this one or another, just know we're not coming here to start a problem. We're coming here because we honestly, genuinely care about families in this community and throughout this region. And so that's our purpose. So please understand that. And it has been a difficult process to find a property. And the mayor can tell you that, we've looked at various different things, and we felt that certain properties were overpriced and we were unable to agree to a price. But that's why we're here. But just please understand, we want to be a blessing to the community. We don't want to cause problems. That's not our goal. And I hope y'all believe us when we say we want to be supported by the community that we're in.
any more comments? If not, discussion from the floor is now closed, and I'm going to turn to my committee friends and give you the opportunity to speak on how you feel about this matter. Starting with you, Mary.
I want to know what our job is. Are we supposed to hear and decide any requests for use that is noted in the table of uses? I mean, are we just making a recommendation to the...
First, we're going to discuss it. All of us can give our opinion. And then once we discuss it, then we'll go to number 4. Okay?
So from what this gentleman says, or what Kevin just said, they have just requested a change in the use for this one business, not to change the total zoning, not to change the zoning of that property, but just to allow them a special use variance. Is that what?
Correct me if I'm wrong. If we say the pregnancy center is moving to 309, we're changing that from residential to commercial.
Is that our job or the Board of Adjustments? Do we do that?
Well,
Or
first it starts with...
Yeah,
what's the procedure here?
the request is to add, it doesn't say all this, in my opinion, the request is to add a pregnancy center to our charter permitted uses, which would convert that use allowed in that area by planning commission approval. You can't change.
Commercial property, you've got handicap toilets and, it's not a simple matter of just moving out.
If one more thing,
You'd have your ramps and, I mean, you know, it's all, everything that's ADA.
the planning commission can only recommend to the Board of Aldermen that they change the ordinance by amending the ordinance.
Okay.
Y'all can't grant variances.
Anything else, Mary?
No, just, obviously, it's, you know, we want you to come, but, you know, whether that's the best location. And I would, you know, I'd love to help look for something for you. I'm not a realtor. I mean, I think we could work it out and find somewhere else. I know people that can do some construction.
Jeff, have you finished, Mary?
Yes.
Jeff?
I agree, it's a great thing, y'all coming here, and I hope it works out for y'all and for us also. But by listening to the neighbors, I think, you know, it's just not the right place for this to be located. But I'm going to agree with you, I'd like to help any way I can. I mean, so, you know, I'm hoping y'all come and hope it works out.
Thank you, Madam
Dr.
Chair. I just like to commend the group. This is a wonderful idea. Over the years, at some point in time throughout my education journey, I have worked with teen pregnancy, so I know all about that. But I've listened to the pros and cons, and I believe in following policy. So if the audience states it's a residential community, I would love for it to stay that way. Because if I live there, I would want it to stay to be a residential community and not become a commercial. And again, I do wish you all the best of luck and relocating and find another place, but stay in Vidalia.
I would say I just cut straight to the answer. I want to say I know Claire, my wife knows Claire real good, we know Brian. It's a great thing that y'all are doing. I work down at the bank. I'm going to start looking around, seeing if I can find a piece of property. I know Sabrina's going to be looking for you a piece of property. But the community doesn't really want this down in their area. And, you know, according to the map, it shouldn't be down in their area. And I can't see sending it up to the Board of Aldermen because I think they're going to go along with us. And this is my guess. I don't think they would allow it either. So I would just say no right now. You can't go in down there. So.
Okay. I guess I need to speak. Well, I live at 407 Walnut Street, and I've been there a very long time. I commend you on what you're doing. I was a surgical nurse for 42 years, and I've seen many inappropriate abortions, unfortunate things happening to young people. I've done deliveries on people as young as 13. So it's a blessing that we have an organization like you trying to help young women. But I've now grown old. I moved from New Orleans, and no, Katrina didn't bring me here. I decided many years ago I wanted to move back to where my parents lived, and I came out of New Orleans. But I wanted to come where my parents' roots were and my grandparents. We didn't get to see Jesus as a boy, but I wanted to come to a place. My mother has passed now. She's been gone 2 years. My family often asks, why don't you come back to New Orleans? Because it took some adjustments, but this is home. I enjoy turning down my street and looking at those gorgeous oak trees. I love stepping out of my house at 10 o'clock at night to let my dog go out and use the bathroom, and you can't even hear a pin drop. I love the peace of mind of knowing that I'm safe. I know my neighbors. No, we don't come out a lot, but when we do come out, we know we're safe and we can identify each other. And we get concerned when we see a strange person come down the street. And if we see a car parked too long, I had a chief of police on speed dial, because I'm 69 years old, and I may need some help. I wish you the very best. If it's anything that we can do to assist, we'll do it, because that's what Vidalia is about. We like to see our town grow. We like to see our commercial areas grow as well as our residential. But I did not move on Walnut Street to have it converted to anything but a residential neighborhood. You know, we'll help. I'll volunteer for you. I'm good at volunteering. I'll do anything I can. But I need to know that I have peace of mind living at my house, that I can sit on my front porch and all is well. That I don't have to worry about strange people in the neighborhood. And I'm gonna be honest with you. If one of those young ladies was to be there and I see too many strange people show up, I'm the first person to call police to say, come ride through the neighborhood. Because I'm telling you the truth. But I want you to come. Vidalia is an awesome place to be. But we want residential to stay residential, and we want our commercial to remain commercial. Nothing personal. It's just the way we feel in a small town. Any other comments from Commissioner? No. Okay. If no more comments, is there a motion to move forward with anything else? Is there a motion to move forward with this?
Motion to close.
Will you do a roll call to see how they feel on this, please? If there's, yeah, we asking for a motion. Is there a motion?
To approve or not approve?
To approve or not, yeah.
Yeah, make that motion.
To what?
To not approve.
To not approve.
Second.
Motion has been moved and second. Motion was made by Jeff Ferguson. It was seconded by Pat Galloway. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you very much for coming out, and please be one. Wait.
You had a motion not to approve it, seconded.
And now we got to do the roll. Okay.
I vote to, with the motion. I vote to.
I can't hear you.
I vote to not approve.
Okay.
Not approved.
Not approved.
Not approved.
Not approved. Our mayor want to say hello.
I just want to say I am impressed with Vidalia residents right now. All of y'all acted 100% just right. And I know when God's in the middle of something, it's going to happen.
We're going to make it happen.
It's going to happen. And I was with y'all, remember at the group at church, when I said, come see us, there could be some funds maybe. And I'm going to stand behind that, and I want to do that publicly to everybody. And again, I let Mary Ann, Jeff, Dr. Moore, and Sandra and Pat, thank y'all. They serve for no pay and take these rough decisions.
I volunteered no pay.
And I'm telling you that, you know, I stayed quiet till they made their decision. I shouldn't be involved in these decisions because this is an independent commission and we have independent board of adjustments. I never interfere, but I believe in what y'all do, and we want to help make sure that as a town that we're going to help y'all find a place, and it'll be the right place, because I believe that. And thank y'all. And Kevin, your house is going to sell, okay? One way. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we need to make a motion to
I
adjourn.
move that we adjourn this meeting.
Second. Second.
So it was made by Mary Ann and seconded by Jeff. And all those in favor? Aye. Aye. I gotta go to the bathroom.